Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. So glad to be back this week. We were off last week. I finally got COVID-19. It took 2 years, but it finally happened, and it sucks. I agree with everybody that's had it that said it's not fun. I was not one of the lucky ones that had no symptoms. I never want to get that again. Boost me, make me wear a mask. I don't care. I'm going to do it because I hate it. It was awful. But we got security here. We're keeping whoever attacked me on the 2-year anniversary out of the studio. Whether it was Soapy pre-op or not, we're not sure. But my guest this week, good friend of mine, Rob Baillie. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no. Let's get to know you a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm originally from Winthrop, Massachusetts. Grew up there. Was there till I was 20, and then went in the Air Force.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, 22 years in the Air Force, between active duty and Air National Guard. I retired in 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And where are you living now?
I live in Ware. Where?
Yeah. I love that joke. I used to make that a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, but you're going to be, you're out of here.
I'm out of here. Yeah, 5 weeks, man. 5 weeks. Sunshine State. Yeah, a little Orlando action for maybe slide into retirement a little bit.
Okay.
You know, got a job, so I'm working down there. Go help take care of mom. She doesn't want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Hang with mom for a little bit. She's 85, smart as a whip still, and got her faculties. Just got her driver's license again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so look out Orlando, you know.
Nice. 5 weeks, that's crazy. Are you still gonna come back here once in a while? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably gonna do stuff like this again next year and whatnot. But I'll be back and forth. I got kids here too, so I get they're down the Cape. They live down Cape Cod, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be back to see them if they don't come down to Florida.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I'm following Dad to Florida there. Who knows?
Well, we'll see.
Now, what's 3 things that everybody should know about you?
Well, I am who I am. A nice guy, I guess, hard worker, and a genuine helper, whatnot. I guess what you see is what you get. This what people will see from me, or who I am. I guess the hard working part's probably the most. I'm a fun guy too. I like to have fun.
Yeah.
We have fun, right?
We
like to have fun. So.
We definitely we've had a lot of fun. I mean, there was back a couple months ago during the Patriots season, I got a text from you, at 10 a.m. maybe?
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I got Patriots tickets. And I said, oh, okay. And I'm kind of debating. We get there. What were we, 6 rows back?
Amazing. On the 10-yard line, 6 rows back. Yeah. Amazing seats, yeah.
That was unbelievable. And I remember being like, man, really glad I answered my phone, because I was tempted to be like, what does anybody want with me right now?
Right. It's funny because, you would think that people would jump at the chance. And it's amazing because I have, a lot of times I'll call people for Bruins tickets too, right? Because I have Bruins tickets, and I'll call people, hey, you want to go? Oh, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? But I'm a huge fan, so for me it's a no-brainer. Someone calls me, I'm like, I'm there in 5 minutes, Let's go.
No, you know what? I think as the years, I won't say no to a Patriots ticket. I'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm in.
Well, there's so few games.
Yeah.
So you gotta go.
No, 100% agree. I mean, if someone texts me saying they got Celtics playoff tickets, I'll say yes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with the theme of the show, which is Let Freedom Ring. What does it mean to you to be an American? This means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Well, to me, I mean, I did serve for 22 years, so that's my giving back to America, I guess you could say. I wholeheartedly believe in the military. We wouldn't be as free as we are now without the military, and I've been to other countries when I served, and you can see how lucky we are to be who we are. We're free. We're free to do things. A lot of people think we're not, but we are. We're free to do what we want, when we want. Sometimes there's repercussions, of course, but for the most part, we're a free society. We're not worried every other day of getting attacked or being shelled or or knowing where a meal is coming from. I mean, there are people, of course, but for the majority of the people, we know there's something, and there's people there to help those who need the help as well. I mean, some countries don't have that. I mean, I couldn't see living anywhere else, you know.
No, I agree. I mean, I had an interesting show about a month ago. I had a buddy of mine. He lives in Hong Kong, and we did the episode obviously live. We did a live episode. You know, here I am in New Hampshire, and here he was in Hong Kong. And the question comes up, and we start getting into it. He goes, "You know what? I got to be careful of what I say."
Wow.
We never here at Let Freedom Ring ever worry about the government coming in and doing anything about the opinions that are expressed on this show.
Sure.
Could maybe the town of Merrimack get a little upset about some things? Yes, but do we worry about the government coming in? He actually had to worry about whether he says the wrong thing, whether the government of China is going to do something to him.
Oh, well.
You know, so that's something that I feel like, take for granted. You know, you could say whatever you want about the president. They're not going to, well, you can't make threats, but
Sure.
you can have an opinion. You're not going to worry about them knocking on your door.
Sure. Freedom of speech, that's our number one thing, yeah.
And I have to ask this, how did you decide to go into the Air Force?
Totally by accident, right? I took my brother to the recruiter. He was going to go in. And they did some stuff, and they said, well, he can't go in. How about you? I went, no, I don't know, maybe. What can I do? And I had this idea that I was going to fix computers and be this real computer thing. Now, you got to remember, back in the early 80s, computers were still, you know, the size of this room, right? And I'm going to fix them. I'm going to make tons of money fixing computers, right? And then I was going in, and then they told me I couldn't do it because I was colorblind or I had a color deficiency. So I said, well, I'm not going in. And the recruiter chased me for a week. Finally, I went in. I said, yeah, the heck with it. I'm going to go in. You know, it was the biggest mistake that it was a mistake, I thought at the time, but it turned out to be the best mistake ever, you know, because I did 22 years, and it was amazing, you know. So many friends, so many friends that I even talk to today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 30, 40 years friendship, you know, and not just, you know, you have that with high school people, right? You go to high school with people from your town. Air Force, same thing, you know, across the world, you know, just people you've met. It's a great mistake I made, you know, and now I'm getting paid for it. Now that I'm retired, I'm getting paid for it.
Not bad. I mean, now you said you got to, what other countries did you get to go to?
I was in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh, wow.
I was there for 18 months. That was amazing. I upset my mother on Christmas Day because I called her, said Merry Christmas, and she goes, oh, girl, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm playing golf in shorts and a T-shirt. She goes, I'm not liking you right now, and I'm going to hang up. And then I went to Korea and the Philippines just for a couple days each to check it out. And, of course, Canada. I've been to Canada. Honduras. Honduras was a trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks. But I never made it to Europe, though. I always wanted to go to Europe, never made it to Europe. I went to the Far East instead. And I spent the rest of the time in the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never been to Europe. Well, I haven't done a whole lot of traveling. I need to get on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger.
No.
No, very interesting. I think you might have told me that before, but I didn't know. But 22 years, we thank you for your service, obviously, to this country. So, speaking of that, me and you we just had quite the weekend.
Yeah.
We're wearing the sweatshirts. We participated in the Tough Ruck. This was my seventh. I believe it was your second one. What a day. What a day. And we've talked about this before, but can you explain to the audience watching what the Tough Ruck is?
The Tough Ruck basically is it's a 26.2 mile run if you're so bold. I was not that bold. With a backpack and different weight classes on your backpacks. Minimum was 15 pounds, and I think max was 35. Not 35.
Some people go over that.
And some people go over that, of course. Mine was at 24, and I got yelled at, I'm just saying, because I packed someone else's, and it was over 20. It's supposed to be 15. What are you doing packing it at 23? I went, it's just more stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But, and it's in support of the military, which, of course, I'm so fond of. First responders and EMTs and alike, and it's just for a great cause. And you know what? It's a great soul searching thing too, right? Because you're doing this and you got so much stuff going on in your head as you're doing it, and 1 minute you're pumped, the next minute you go, oh my God, I'm never gonna make it. But that's what it is for me. It's
Yeah, we want to point out that a lot of the money that we raise goes towards Gold Star families, which are families that lost a loved one either in the military. Obviously, we're helping families of police officers and firefighters as well. And a big piece of that is the names on the back of the bag that you carry, which I was stupid this year. I didn't know you could get the ribbons when you got there. And I used this cheap one that it looked good in the store when I bought it. It didn't come out as good. So just know if you do the Tough Ruck, they do have the ribbons there and you can do it the day of.
Although she was working really, really hard because she ran out of ribbons, so she had to make them.
Oh, she was running out?
She was amazing. She goes, I ran out, and she's over there. She's making them.
Yeah.
But you know what? It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's there.
Yes.
And the symbolism is still there,
Yeah, the ribbon, it just wasn't good. This year I specifically did soldiers that were lost in the Iraqi War in 2003 from New Hampshire. Those were the soldiers I had on there. Now, how did you end up getting involved? Because I know you participated in it, but you were involved with this before you actually did it, correct?
Yeah, so one of the major sponsors, Bertucci's Restaurants, I happen to be friends with a couple of people over there, and they asked me to work it one year. And, as a volunteer and handing out food and whatnot, I said, sure, why not? So I did it, and then I was watching it, and, it's just tugging at me big time. I said, you know what? And I said to the guy who had me come from Bertucci, I said, I'm going to do this. And he goes, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. This is 26.5 miles, 26.2 miles. Said, I'm going to do it. And I thought about it, and I was thinking about it, and then, of course, COVID hit. But you and I were playing softball one night, and I saw you wearing the blue shirt, and I asked you about that, remember? And I said,
yeah.
And I said, oh, I always wanted to do that. And then we started talking about it. Next thing you know, I'm on your team. And I said, but that's how I looked at it. If I didn't do that volunteer, I would have never thought about it,
Yeah, because, a lot of times, it is growing. Like, over the years, I've noticed, because I've been wearing my first one was 2016. So, I have seen over the years where people see the shirts and they go, what is that? Because it has grown a lot. It is part of the Boston Marathon.
Sure.
It's not the actual marathon, but it's the same spot. It falls under the same umbrella. They give you a Boston Marathon medal for finishing. So it's kind of grown. Oh, yes, and Rob has it right here. As you can see there, that has, so what, the 126th Boston Marathon there. Now, they used to actually give you the lanyard of the marathon. They have changed it because, obviously, the Tough Ruck is very different. I think it says...
I thought it said
Tough Ruck right inside there, 2022 Tough Ruck. So they do decipher them a little bit different. But this is an official Boston Marathon medal.
Yes.
That you do receive, which is so cool. Yeah. Obviously, I will say this. I think, I've heard people go, well, the Ruck's harder than the marathon. I go, no way.
Yeah.
I can do the Ruck. I could not run the Boston Marathon.
I'm not running.
Yeah.
My running days are done. Yeah.
Now, your first one's last year. So you didn't get what was your first one like? Obviously different. We were on an app instead of being on the course, which we're going to get into this year a lot. But what was your first year like?
It was very interesting, actually, because we picked out a course, because it was virtual. So we picked out a course to do. We did Goffstown Rail Trail, not realizing it's only 8 miles long. Yeah. Right? So we get to the end, and we're going, now what do we do? Now we got to pick up another 8 miles or so to figure out, because you can't just turn around and go back. Now it's 16, and I'm not going back and forth, a couple times. So we actually walked around Manchester until we could get our mileage, knowing that once we got under 8, we could get back on the rail trail again. So that was interesting. That was just, and I got to see Manchester like I've never seen Manchester before,
Yeah.
So, but it made me want to do it again because it pushed me. But I think because it was so many different things, it made it that much easier to do. But my time, of course, last year was a lot slower than this year, but I didn't know much about the times,
Yeah.
So, man, I was hurting last year. For the last 5 miles, I dragged. I was dragging. I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. My back was heavy. My pack was heavy, and my feet were sore, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. But 2 days later, I'm up and running around and doing my thing again, and I went, all right, so it wasn't that bad,
Yeah. Well, the body can heal. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that last year, I mean, it was tough because we're on the app. Now, myself, I'm still convinced because I was with my buddy Rob, another Rob that does a Tough Ruck, and he used a different app, and, we're walking together, and he's 2 miles ahead of me. I'm like, well, I've been with you the whole time. I wanted to stick to the app. I'm still convinced I did 30 miles last year.
My app stopped at 15 miles.
It just stopped working?
It just stopped at 15 miles, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable. Like, I really didn't like using that app, the Race Joy.
Well, even used it this year, too, just as a side.
Yeah.
And it's still, by the time we got, 5-10 miles in, it was all messed up again. You could hear it beeping off the course. All these people who were using it, it was just beeping like crazy. It was losing signal. And
I just looked at it, it was like, I'm not doing it this year. Yeah. No one needs to track me. This is the course. We're back on it. This is where I want to be. Which gets me to this. What was it like? Now, this course was different than years prior, which I loved because in years prior, it was down and back, and that can be mentally draining. This was one out all the way 13 and back. What was it like for you being the first time on the course?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. You have different scenery. It had probably, 5 different sections, as you might think of them, because you're in the city, Lexington a little bit, and you're in the woods a little bit, and you're out on the main streets a little bit. So it was a nice course. I'd do it again. There's only one part I didn't like. It's that little cutout onto, and I can't remember the name of the street there.
Is it to the light?
Huh?
You mean when you have to go to the traffic light, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much. You got to turn around the cone and then come back. Yeah, that one street that I remember the name of it. I've been on it 1,000 times, but I can't for the life of me figure out what. But that one right there was like a mental thing for me. It's like, I don't want to do this. It's like not even a quarter mile. It's silly. Why do I want to go down and back? And for some reason, and then when I was coming back and we had to hit it again, that's where mile 18 was.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is going to be tough. Because I don't really want to be on this street. I just want to keep going straight, Yeah,
that's how I felt. Yeah, I mean, the first time I hit it, I said, all right. And then coming back, I'm like, I was talking, because, I had COVID-19 the week before. I was dragging. So I was just making new friends throughout it. And I'm like, I was telling people, it's like, maybe they won't make us do it. You get there again. It's like, yep, head back down. I was like, there was a guy literally sitting there with a cooler and his kids saying, does anyone want a beer break? Beer break.
Oh,
and I'm like,
I missed him.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you. I cannot handle a beer right now. But yeah, overall, you liked the course.
I did like the course, yeah.
Did you like it better not having to think about the app all day?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I like the idea that I didn't have to, even my watch, I was using my watch, and my watch died at mile 13. So I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. But I was using it to pace myself to see what my pace was. Because, of course, when I first went out, we were at 15, just above 15-minute miles, and we were just pacing ourselves that way, just to see where we were at. And then at mile 13, I lost it. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I don't know what I'm going to be doing going back in. But, of course, you slow down. But,
Yeah,
I
mean, I was so happy to hit that turnaround because the way I looked at it is like, you got to get back to your car somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the best part of the day that you had?
Actually, the whole part was actually really great. The spectators, so many people not even involved in the race, giving out water and bananas and oranges and Gatorades and then you know they're not part of it. They're just families just setting up a tent and saying let's support these people. Talking to the people as you're walking down the course. I told you there was probably a dozen people that we were passing us, and of course there's little chatters as you're going back and forth. But I think just the whole atmosphere, the whole vibe, and it was such a happy place, right? Everybody was glad to be there. Everybody was pumped, So, and I mean, of course, I should say, but the happiest part was finishing.
Yeah.
Right. And finishing in under time, I didn't make my goal. I had probably a pretty lofty goal, but I came pretty close. But it was just a great day, all told. Weather and everything.
No, I agree. I mean, this year, this was the first year I just, with everything going on, I really couldn't keep up with my group. And I've never done the whole Tough Ruck by myself. This was the year that, I was with them the first couple miles, maybe 3. I met other people, but I was literally by myself the whole day. And I'll tell you, when I got, there was no marker from mile 25.
I know. I heard someone stole it.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. I heard someone took it, yeah.
I don't know why but every time I get to 25, and I'm that one last one, I take a picture and I'm like, okay, here we go, the final stretch. I'm waiting for 25 and it's never coming.
Yeah.
And there's a guy there that goes, hey, end of this street, see that cone? You're going to turn, you're at the finish line. I go, I'm at the finish line? Because, again, it was new course. I used to know what the old course was or the setup. So, and again, I've been by myself. I'm feeling the effects of COVID-19 throughout the whole day. I'm not in the shape I used to be in, questioning myself all day whether I'm actually going to finish this. And now there's the finish line. And I get across, and the lady that hands me my medal goes, can I give you a hug? I said, sure. She gives me a hug, and I hug her, and I walk away, and I just start crying.
Yeah.
It was very emotional. All of a sudden, I'm like, tears are in my eye. I'm like, what just happened here? Like, I went from all smiles. This lady gives me a hug, and I'm losing it. Because I honestly, going into it the night before, after being sick, I didn't know if I could do it.
Right.
So it truly is like emotional when you do finish this thing.
Yeah.
Now, we know this is a giant challenge. There's a lot of different things. What's the most challenging thing to you? I mean, is it your legs? Is it your feet? Is it the weight? Is it when is this going to be over? Like, what do you find is the most challenging part?
My feet was the most challenging part. They were sore from mile 1. You know what I mean? They weren't real sore, but if there was anything that was that I felt, it was my feet. My legs weren't too bad. Towards the end, they started getting a little tight. I mean, they were tight actually throughout too, but I'm not an everyday runner or not anything like that anymore. So everything was kind of tight. But my feet that was my biggest worry too, is my feet. Because last year I had some pretty nice blisters. This year, 2 small blisters. That was it. But they were sore. But you know what? I was up and walking the next day. I was out running around doing stuff and. Maybe slower than I normally do stuff, but still, it's. But that was my problem. My back was fine. I had no problems. I did have a twinge in my shoulder right at the end. It must have been the way I took my backpack off when I was like, this thing's gotta go.
Yeah.
And then so, no, you need it back on for a minute. Oh, really? So, but yeah, for me, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this year was definitely. I was just fatigued, obviously. Like this year. There was a couple times I literally thought I was going to pass out, and I was like, don't focus on anything, put some music on, and, that was the most challenging part for me. But I will say your feet always is. I lost a toenail this year. I haven't lost one in years, and I don't know if it's like, I always buy a new pair of Hokas every year for it.
Yeah.
I don't break them in. This year, I don't know if it was the way I wore my socks or something, but I could feel the toenail swimming in my sock. On the last 5 miles, where I'm like, yep, I lost a toenail. How did that happen?
Right.
So we talked about this a little bit. Just what is going through your mind when you hit the finish line?
Oh, it's over. Yeah, another conquest, right? It's over. I'm pumped. I'm done. I'm not thinking about it again, But when I was looking at the time as I'm crossing, I go, all right, I beat my time. I'm here. I'm pumped, right? I'm like, I'm glad I finished, and you got everybody cheering you on as coming down the finish line. It's just full of people, right? And then I got one guy, he recognized me, the guy who was doing the work for it, Bertucci. I hear him yell my name and come running across and give me a fist bump, right? I'm oh, that's awesome, right? So the last thing I was thinking about was doing it again next year, but but just crossing, it was great,
And there's something like that feeling of just, you finish and you're like, I don't, I'm thinking, where's that pizza everybody's been talking about? And, but yeah, so with all that being said, are you returning next year?
Yeah, I'm probably, I can see myself coming back next year. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a visit to come up, see friends, and do the Tough Rock, and I can see myself doing it again next year. Absolutely. So one little fact you probably didn't know is, and I'm not patting myself on the back or anything, but they classified me as a master this year.
Okay.
Because I'm 60.
Yeah.
I finished first.
Really?
Yes.
Was there a podium? Did you make the podium, or is it like?
I don't know, because I left before they did the medals, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I don't know. I just happened to look at the the final results and all that, and it said class number 1. I went, class number 1? What does that mean? I finished in 100th place overall.
Okay.
So that was cool, top 100, right? But I saw the number 1. I didn't know what it meant, so I had to do some reading. And they put me in the M60 class. So there's only 5 of us, but hey I still beat all 5.
A win's a win,
right? Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, yeah. Well, I hope you do return. I never plan on stopping. It's just such a great event. It's a great day. So, and this year, we got to say, we did not have a full year to get ready for it this year. This is the first time that's ever happened where the last one we did was in October.
Right.
And now we're trying to get things back on track. I mean, it was April. Like all the fundraising, everything else, you had, limited amount of time this year.
Yeah, it was tough fundraising too.
So,
yeah.
And it was good. Did you get to see in the Boston Marathon on Monday?
I did not. No, I was working. No.
Okay. I mean, it was, I got to say, just a very, I know they had it last year, but it wasn't April. Like, it's just good to have things back to, like, normal.
Well, they had a short turnover, too, because they did it in October as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you have to qualify for that.
Yeah.
And if you're a charity, you have to raise $5,000. There's not a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot of time for people to do that.
Yeah.
But a very emotional one. The little boy that was killed in 2013.
Yeah.
His brother completed the Boston Marathon. Right. So there was a lot of good stories coming out. There was another story of 50. It was like 50 years ago since the women were allowed to be in.
Yeah. I saw that.
And a woman who did it ran it this year.
Oh, okay.
She was in the first. So that's a 50 years gap from her first marathon to now.
Oh, wow.
So there's just a lot of great stories coming out of the marathon. There always is. That being said, just want to talk some sports things. There's a little bit of controversy kind of going on right now. As we know, Jerry Remy passed away in October, I believe it was, and a lot of tributes. Jerry Remy meant so much to the Red Sox as a broadcast announcer and everything like that, and they had the tribute to him yesterday. They're wearing number 2 on the jersey this year, but it's hard to talk about Jerry Remy without talking about Don Orsillo.
Yeah.
Probably the best to broadcast, I would say, in Red Sox history. I mean, granted, I haven't been here for all the Red Sox history.
Yeah.
But this was the 2 guys that were, the broadcasters when they broke the curse. Like, they were there for a long time. I believe they were together 15 years. Don's tribute to Jerry was cut out of the ceremony yesterday, and he actually said on Twitter, all of a sudden I was told that it wasn't going to be used. He's not worked for the Red Sox in a few years. They decided to go in another direction. Was this a mistake by Red Sox management to cut this out? I mean, I've seen so many people just upset online today about this.
Well, it's very upsetting to not include Don Orsillo in some shape or fashion. Right? This is supposed to be a video tribute, right? Where he was, because we're out in California.
San Diego.
San Diego. It is upsetting, and it's why they would do that. I mean, who knows? We're not behind the scenes to see why it transpired the way it did. Who knows timing? Who knows what the issue was? But he's been a staple, and I'm old enough to know Ken Coleman and those broadcasters back in the day who were, fixtures, and I'd never seen anybody treated like they treated Orsillo. I mean,
Yeah.
they treated Ken Coleman well after his passing and whatnot too. So we'll see what comes of it. I mean, probably nothing, to be honest, but.
Yeah, I mean, there were claims that Don was invited to be there in person. Now, I don't know if that's true or whatnot, but there's been a weirdness ever since this ownership sort of tends to feel like they run people out of town a little bit. Like, do you remember how Terry Francona left? And they smeared him on the way out. Oh, he's having problems with his wife and this and that. And, oh, he might have a pill addiction. And all this stuff dropped to the media as the best, the coach that broke the curse.
Right.
And then won another championship. And it was like, it felt like, feels like sometimes relationships here in Boston with the John Henry's group, they just don't end all that great.
No, It seems like that. It seems like the little kid in the sandlot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking my toy and I'm going home, and you can't play with it anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it's Jerry Remy. You gotta have Don Orsillo there. Yeah. I mean, that was his guy. That was his partner. So, but anyways, one other thing, I do want to know some of your favorite sports moments, but I do have a question for you. How are you feeling about the Celtics? Do you think this is a team that can get to the finals?
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm a fair weather fan, right? I've been a fair weather Celtics fan
I think most of us can
since I was a little kid, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because back in the day, and that's one of my sports moments, right? And this is one I actually saw was Havlicek stole the ball.
Yeah.
I actually saw that.
Oh, wow.
Watched that. And I was
Yeah,
like, whoa, right? But they have a great team. I just love the way that I watched the game last night. And I'm not one who usually watches the games, but I've been watching them. And they're playing amazing. They really are. The core group they have of 8 players, of just playing amazing basketball, I think they could go. I think Brooklyn's going to be the biggest test.
Yeah.
I really do.
And I know we're the higher seed, but still, I mean, you got Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, everyone's been saying too. Brooklyn is they kind of sandbagged it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
They just made it into the playoffs, and they've been saying you don't want to play Brooklyn first round. Who wants to play Kyrie and Durant? But they're smothering the Durant like nobody's business.
I know. I'm loving seeing that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, though? So, Kyrie got fined the other day. Obviously, there's a very big rivalry. I am not a fan of Kyrie Irving. There's been times where I've said his name's not even allowed on the show because of how I feel about that man. What do you think of the fans going back and forth with him? Like, obviously, this is expected, right?
Yeah, I love it. Why not? It's great. That's who Boston is.
Do you think Kyrie should be fined for flicking off the fans? Because he did get a $50,000 fine.
Well, yeah. You know what? He should get fined if he's going to do something to play with the fans. That's uncalled for because you do have children.
Yeah.
There, and it's a bad place for children. They're trying to make it family. You know what I mean? So yeah, get fined. Yeah, I see it. But if Kyrie step up and do something different, and like they said, hey, he's going to score a basket. Hey, how do you like that, folks?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Kyrie either, but he's a great ball player.
It's just like, it's kind of one of those things where like a fan base bought all the way in on you and you're like, I want to stay here and I want to win a championship. Not only did you not deliver, but like you almost kind of quit at times and then you left, you went to Brooklyn. Like, did you think like the fans, he knew they weren't going to like him, but last year he was like, well, if they don't like me, it's because they're racist. Even though like he was like stomping on the logo.
Yeah.
The guy's all over the place.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah, he is.
What are your favorite sports moments?
Well, Havlicek stole the ball is definitely one of my top. And these are kind of old ones, but I'm not young. Yaz's 3,000th hit.
Okay.
I missed that by a game. So I grew up in Winthrop. It was a bus and a subway into Fenway, right? And I think it's probably a quarter. Who knows? A quarter each one. But we used to go to games on the weekends all the time. So when he got that close, we kept going, and we missed it because it happened during the week. We're course, can't go during the week. And the 400th, his 400th home run was another one that was same thing. We just missed it by a game, you know. Bruins Stanley Cup, you know.
Unbelievable.
That was huge for me. And then, of course, the first Patriots Super Bowl, you know, against L.A. Was it L.A.? Or
well, they were St. Louis at the time.
St. Louis, yeah. Those were huge moments, you know. And, of course, the whole Red Sox season of 2004.
Yeah.
You know, that was just the whole vibe of that. I mean, you couldn't help but catch it, you know. So those were amazing. I'm a huge, of course, Boston sports fan. I mean, but I almost forgot about 2004 there for a second. I was like, whoa.
I don't think, you know, that's usually, we always talk about it because a lot, you know, there's a debate of whether Boston's become a football town. I think football as a whole is like the biggest thing in the country, but I feel like baseball is just so into Boston culture that that Red Sox thing, anybody that was alive to see it, that's going to be their favorite moment.
2004.
Yeah, 2004.
2004. Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
It seems like it's declined a little bit, though, baseball. In general. Not just in Boston, but in general. Baseball, I think, has declined a little bit. It's a lot of the sports, they're just kind of making people upset. You know, money. You know? All these players making all this big money.
Well, they spent, you know, they had to get the fans back after '94.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. They keep changing the game, too, and I don't think that's helping.
Right. No, I agree.
I actually think that Bud Selig, as much as I was critical of him, he was a better commissioner than this Manfred guy.
Yeah.
Feels like Manfred doesn't even like baseball, you know, and yeah, it's definitely declining, but as football goes on the rise.
Yes, yeah.
And football becomes more and more of America's pastime. It becoming that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, football is huge today. Yeah.
And I mean, they own a day of the week.
Yeah.
Baseball doesn't know. Baseball's on every night. Like,
right.
You know,
and that's part of it too, because you can watch it just about at any time you want.
Yeah.
Because it's always on. You know, football. You know what? Football is, although they're starting to get a little bit crazy, doing like 3-4 nights a week.
Yeah.
You know, Thursday night, Monday night, Saturday, Sunday. It's just that's getting a little over much too. You know, I liked it better when it was just Sunday and then Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
You know, it was a tradition. You know.
I go back and forth on Thursday Night Football. Sometimes I hate when the Patriots are on it because I know they haven't had enough time to get ready. You know, but yeah, they're trying to have multiple nights, but there's something about football on Sundays that just can't be matched. I want to get into some pop culture top fives here. Do you have a top 5 favorite movies?
Yeah. I guess I'm all over the place with movies. So 2 of my favorites, well, actually 3 of my favorites are older movies. Green Berets.
Okay.
That's with John Wayne. It's a war movie. Phenomenal. Singing in the Rain. That's a.
Who's in that?
Gene Kelly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's Gene Kelly and I can't remember the woman either. But yeah, so Gene Kelly stars in it. And then there's White Christmas with Bing Crosby.
Okay.
Yeah.
He even sang that, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then some newer ones are Casino.
Yes.
Yeah, Casino.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and then the Al Pacino one,
Scarface.
Scarface. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Godfather trilogy, but
You gotta have the Godfather.
yeah, you got to have the Godfather. Yeah.
Yeah, all those. I mean, I grew up on Casino, obviously, and there's just something about De Niro and Pesci when they're together that just can't be touched. But Sharon Stone is crazy in that movie.
Yeah.
She's really good. Yeah, and Scarface, obviously a classic. They always talk about remaking that movie. It never happens, and I don't know if you can. That was a remake. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that.
There was a Scarface from like the 1930s.
Oh, okay.
But he was a different. I forget where he immigrated from, but it was the same idea.
Okay.
Obviously, the newer, the '83 one's a lot more violent.
Yeah, you can't remake that one.
No.
Well, you can, but it won't be the same. They won't be the same. That one whole scene with "Say hello to my little friend."
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Can't really top that.
No.
What are your top 5 TV shows?
Ugh, TV shows. I'm not a huge TV guy. I'm a binge watcher, so a lot of the stuff on Netflix and Amazon Prime, that type stuff. There's a whole bunch of really great ones on there. House of Cards was pretty phenomenal. Downton Abbey, believe it or not, I thought was pretty amazing. Some great writing there. What else? God, there's so many good ones. The one you just binge watched because everyone's making a big deal of it.
Breaking Bad?
Oh, that one too. Oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Amazing.
Ozark.
Ozark, yeah.
I am so excited for that to come back.
Yeah. That'll be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
April 29th, they said. So the great part is it's coming back. The sad part is it's over.
I know. So I watched everything in 1 week because everybody kept saying, "No, you got to watch Ozark," and I go, "Okay." Put it on, and you're hooked after that first episode is like so good. You're sucked right in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is sad that it's going to be over because I feel like you really can't go more than 6 seasons. This one's only going 4.
Yeah.
Before the show really goes
Starts
off the rails.
Yeah.
Which is why The Walking Dead just stopped working because it just went on too long.
Yeah.
You mentioned Netflix. I don't know if you've been listening to stories today.
No.
They've lost some money. It sounds like they're going to start cracking down on sharing passwords.
Okay.
So anybody watching this that's borrowing someone's password, be careful. I don't have my own account, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
I bucked up. I have my own account.
Yeah, I've been using my brother's for years.
Oh, jeez.
And it looks like they're coming. Netflix. Don't come after me. If I have to buy an account, I will. But they keep raising their prices too.
They just raised it. Yeah, I think it's $8.99 now for a single.
I guess it's still not the end
It's
of
not the
world.
worst. No.
Top 5 musical artists?
Ugh. It depends on the year, I guess, right?
Okay.
Right now, I'm a big country guy. Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, right off the top, Metallica. Always wasn't a Metallica fan, actually. Back in the old days, I hated Metallica.
Really?
Yeah, now I'm a big fan. I watched the documentary on them and really get into the music a little bit, and I went, oh, these guys are really good. Old rock and roller, so bands like Boston.
Love Boston.
Boston was my favorite when I was growing up, right? I used to listen to them play across the street from my friend's house.
Oh, really?
Up in an attic when they used to jam before.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because one of the guys lived in Winthrop.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool, and we thought that was cool, And of course Aerosmith,
Another Boston.
another Boston band, But country, rock and roll.
Yeah, no, those are all good bands. I have to say there was one time I went to a Zac Brown concert, which I guess they're buddies with everybody. I didn't know that they did all this stuff with Dave Grohl before
Foo Fighters, dude.
Yeah,
what a concert! I went to that one. That was amazing.
Well, now I regret it. Now that Taylor Hawkins has passed away, I'm like, man, why did I never go see that band? I love the Foo Fighters, and I just never, did it. So I don't know if they'll ever tour again. At this point, I mean.
Yeah, I can't see Dave Grohl sitting.
No.
The concert I went to see, I saw at Fenway.
Yeah.
He was on a chair because he had broken his leg.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't. It's funny because my brother called me up. Say, hey, you want to go to a concert? I'm there. Who are we going to see?
Yeah.
He goes, Foo Fighters. I said, oh, I hope Dropkick Murphys opens for him.
Yeah.
Right? Dropkick Murphy opened for him.
Oh, wow.
I was pumped because I always wanted to see them.
Yeah.
And then 2 rows back, he got the tickets. I was like,
Yeah.
Right? Stage was right here.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a great show, and he was amazing. And I was like, who are these Foo Fighters, right? He goes, you know who they are. You'll know their songs. I said, are you sure? And then I knew every single song. I didn't know that. It was funny. I didn't know the name of the band, but I knew all the songs.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, they're a Hall of Fame band.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Grohl is a guy that just, you're right. Maybe he can't sit. I mean, he literally loves music. Like, to break, what we're not talking about, when he broke his leg, they got on there, he said, I'll finish the show. Let me go take care of this broken leg, and I'll come back and finish the show. And he did. Like, they don't make musicians like Dave Grohl.
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean, that whole first Foo Fighters album, he did all by himself, and then he started bringing in a band. Like, he's just to have ties to Nirvana, is like, maybe one of the best bands of all time, and obviously the Foo Fighters are too. It's something really crazy how talented he is.
Right.
We got some good blank. So I want to get into my favorite segment here, which is blank versus blank. And actually, I didn't plan this segue, but you got to pick one. Tell me why. But Foo Fighters or Nirvana?
Oh, Foo Fighters. I just know more Foo Fighters than I know Nirvana.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of Nirvana when they came out, and like I said, I didn't know who the Foo Fighters were until I heard all their music.
That's
right?
too
I'm like,
funny.
all right, well now so it's definitely Foo Fighters. Yeah.
Yeah, two unbelievable bands. I do say, I was listening to the radio the other day, and they're saying a lot of TikTokers, which I guess the TikTokers are, I mean, we could have a TikTok, but it's mostly what Gen Z or, people that are, I don't know, high school, early college. They're referring to Nirvana as oldies. Am I at that? I'm 37 years old. Nirvana was big when I was in elementary school. Is that classified as an oldie?
Well, it's pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Oh my God, that's just
That's
like,
because you're getting old. Yeah.
Then I wonder, I guess like when I was in the 90s, if my parents were listening to something from the 60s, I thought of that as an oldie.
Yeah.
So now the 90s are like, that's mind blown how fast time actually moves.
Yeah.
But you TikTokers out there, Nirvana, I'm not a big fan of this TikTok stuff. I'm just not.
What is TikTok?
It's like, I don't know.
That's old guy speak right now, right?
It's like you can make funny videos, or you can go there and say, I don't know how to. I tried to make a TikTok and I couldn't figure it out. So it tells you I'm not part of that generation.
Right.
I can use Facebook. That's about it. More responsible for the success of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick for the last 20 years?
Bill Belichick. 100%. 100%. I don't know that Tom Brady would be successful without Bill Belichick at the beginning. Maybe now he is now because he knows. He's older, he's mature, he knows how to play the game. And I think, you know what? Bill Belichick taught him how to play the game.
I think you're right. I mean, I think he molded him. Yeah. Who'd you rather have a quarterback, Mac Jones or Cam Newton?
Oh, Mac Jones all day. All day. Real potential I see there. And Bill Belichick running he's going to take care of him.
Yeah, I really am hoping to see big things. I'm ready for Mac year 2.
Yeah, me too.
And we're only here in April, and that tells you, again, the stranglehold that football has. We're always talking about it, Tupac Shakur or Biggie Smalls and Notorious B.I.G.? And do you know either songs by either one of these guys?
Haven't a clue.
Oh my God.
I've heard of them both, but it's not my genre of music. It's just, no.
All right, fair enough. We ask that a lot. We just want.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know one from the other, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Well, all right, I'll ask you this then: Boston or Aerosmith?
Oh, Boston.
Is that lead singer still alive? He had a really amazing voice.
No, I believe he passed.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he passed. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather do the Tough Ruck virtually or on the course?
No, on the course, 100%. It was way better than virtual.
LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan. I just thought he had more respect for the game.
Okay.
And the people around it.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think, though, that LeBron is the best of this generation? Or?
Yeah, hard to say not. I mean, he really, he's the big guy for this generation, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of guys that are there, but not quite to his level. But, yeah, I would say so.
I mean, I didn't get to watch all of Michael Jordan's career, obviously. I'm the same age as LeBron, so I've got to follow everything, and it's been fun to watch. I mean, obviously, LeBron's had his moments where he's very unlikable. But I think deep down, he's not a bad... I mean, he's done a lot more good for the community than Michael Jordan ever did,
Possibly, because I don't know what he did in Chicago, because of course we weren't in Chicago. But Michael Jordan also came from a time with huge mega superstars in basketball, right? Scottie Pippen played with him, right?
My favorite. Yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
The Celtic eras of Bird, McHale, Parrish, Worthy, all these guys that were just huge superstars themselves, and he was above them. So that for me, that's kind of
slowly above them though. It took years for him to really get
Well, he
never really beat that Celtics team in their prime.
No. Really, not many people did beat the Celtics team in their prime.
No.
They had three really unbelievable players, and then DJ in the backcourt. I mean, it's.
Do you believe that if Len Bias doesn't die after the draft, do you think that Celtics team wins a couple more championships, or could have beaten that Bulls for another couple of years?
I don't know. I don't know how good he was. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick, right?
Yeah.
But you never know. Once they step on the court, you don't know if they're going to be superstars or if they're not. How they get along with their teammates. It was sad, right? Because there was a big hope for us. Because we had some teams that weren't really doing anything, and here we are getting this first-round draft pick that we're thinking is going to carry us for a few years.
And then, I can't imagine I was too young. Do you remember what was going through your mind where it's this is a number one pick and he's dead?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said, oh wow, we're probably not going to be that good for a little bit longer now.
Yeah.
Sad, but and he was young. What was he? 21, 22?
If that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a shocking turn of events there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything that even remotely comes close to that. Obviously, athletes have died in their prime, but to be drafted and then...
Not even get to the show, really.
Yeah, that's just crazy. All right, toughest one in blank versus blank. Right now, you play on a softball team. Are you guys going by Oddfellows this year?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, It used to be M&N. Used to be O'Brien's. So it's a constantly changing name.
Well, O'Brien's and Oddfellows is the same.
Oh, it's the same thing?
It's the same thing, yeah.
I guess it is, right? They're connected to each other?
Yeah.
What's the point of two different names?
No, we never had so we thought it was going to be O'Brien's.
Oh, okay.
And then before it actually took hold, we changed it to Oddfellows because they wanted to advertise the Oddfellows more, and it actually come out to be a better looking uniform than O'Brien's. Yeah,
I'm just really confused because he has the buildings connected to each other, right? But so why is it not under just one? What's the difference? So one side I'm on O'Brien's, the next side I'm on Oddfellows.
Well, so picture this, right? And this is how I look at it. Now, there used to be my hang spot, right? I mean, that's where you'd find me on almost every given night, hanging out and having a beer. But O'Brien's is the Bud Light crowd. Okay. Oddfellows is the IPA crowd.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So the beer menus are a little different.
Oh, way different. Yeah, they're definitely different. And even though the food menu's the same, it's the presentation on Oddfellows is a little bit more upscale. It's datey, right? It's where you take your date and whatnot over there. And O'Brien's is where you go to get trashed and get thrown out and have the cops take you home.
Yeah, essentially. I remember, I wasn't there, but at O'Brien's one year, I think it was 2012, and O'Brien's at this point it's only been there a few years. It was the game where the Patriots slaughtered the Broncos in the playoffs. Someone got thrown through the window there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember that was, to get thrown through a glass window, I can't imagine, especially with the glass that they use there, that cannot feel good.
That's where I watched the Atlanta game.
Oh, really?
The comeback game? Oh, yeah. That was amazing, that atmosphere in there, yeah.
Yeah, O'Brien's now been there for a good amount of years, but I want to know this. Who would you rather take on your team out of the Koss brothers, Dylan or Kyle?
Oh, you're going to make me take one or the other, huh?
The toughest one in blank versus blank.
I hope you guys aren't watching this.
They're regulars of tuning in, so they don't know this.
I'd say Kyle. Dylan's got the baby, so Dylan's
True. So you're gonna get more commitment out of Kyle.
Yeah, we're getting a little more commitment out of Kyle. But they're both great guys.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
they're both great guys. Yeah, both great teammates. You know, don't watch this or don't say anything, or watch it in 6 weeks.
Well, yeah, we're gonna tag them right after the show. But anyways, they're both great guys. But Rob, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast.
No, thank you for having me.
We'll miss you when you do move, but hopefully you're back for the Tough Ruck next year. But everybody out there, keep your heads up. Don't get COVID because it sucks, and I learned that. But until next week, let freedom ring.